Donald Trump recently just destroyed the prosecution, the federal prosecution for the special counsel on the classified documents. You've got to watch what he said. This is at Mar-a-Lago right after his appearance in court up in New York City.
Then you have a radical left lunatic known as a bomb thrower who is harassing hundreds of my people day after day over the boxes hoax. You know, the boxes hoax, as we call it. Just so everyone knows, I come under what's known as the Presidential Records Act, which was designed and approved by Congress long ago just for this reason. Under the act, I'm supposed to negotiate with NARA, the National Archives and Records Administration, which as of this date is a radical left troublemaking organization that red flags the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as dangerous and triggering. Can you imagine? This is what we have to deal with. But there is no criminality under the Presidential Records Act. That is not what it's all about. We were negotiating in very good faith, proper way, in order to return some or all of the documents that I openly and in very plain sight brought with me to Mar-a-Lago from our beautiful White House, just as virtually every other president has done in the past. When FBI and DOJ officials with NARA were here, I told my lawyer to show them the very secure storage room in which they were locked. The FBI's sole request in writing was, could you please put another lock on the door? We immediately complied. It's a lot different than the Biden situation, isn't it? The next thing I know, we were raided by many gun-toting FBI agents who took whatever they wanted, including my passports and medical records. Everybody was in shock. Nobody had ever heard of such a raid before. We can't even believe it. Who would think that that could happen today? I immediately thought of the Fourth Amendment that protects against unreasonable search and seizure. But they did it anyway because our justice system has become lawless. They're using it now, in addition to everything else, to win elections. Apparently, they're not looking at me through the view of the non-criminal Presidential Records Act. They came up with a new one. This is a new one. And they're looking at me through the Espionage Act. Think of that. How does that sound? Of 1917, where the penalty is death.
Wow. Penalty is death. Taking Trump derangement syndrome to a whole new level, a scary level, a level that is unprecedented in terms of our country's history. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a rogue administration that puts together a prosecution, a political prosecution. And you know what they haven't even dealt with? And this just drives me nuts. The whole reason, the whole power for the DOJ, Department of Justice, to classify documents rests in the executive branch. It comes through Article 2. All powers in Article 2 flow from the President of the United States, the elected President of the United States, to those who are the administrative state. They don't flow from the administrative state to the elected official. They flow from the elected official down. Article 2 enumerates the powers of the executive branch, the powers of the presidency, not the powers of the administrative state, not the powers of the people who would use classification of documents as a way to hide their crimes. No, it comes from the Constitution. So the very Department of Justice lawyers, very special guy who's the special counsel, kind of Jack White, not from White Snake, different Jack White. But that power comes directly from a single place, the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, which puts the power in the executive branch in the hands of the President of the United States. So any document that the President of the United States chooses to release is allowed. It's allowed. He doesn't have to get permission from a bunch of pointy-headed bureaucrats who have a desire to take down Donald Trump because he was going to drain the swamp. They don't get to give permission. They work for him. To deal with this, they have a very simple problem. They have to argue with the Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. And I will tell you, if the special counsel attempts to do anything on these charges, I would hope that the president immediately takes this to the Supreme Court, because there is absolutely no way that this prosecution could go forward and that a presidency could even exist in the future if the president is not allowed to declassify documents at the behest of a bunch of bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats, using the power, Article 2 powers. There's no way you can read the Constitution any other way. And it's my hope that the President of the United States takes this directly to the Supreme Court if any charges are levied, because the fact is, this is a illegitimate prosecution from day one, politically motivated, and it has to be stopped, not just for Donald Trump's sake, but for the sake of our republic. Thanks for listening. This is Rick Manning. We'll see you next time.